Hi, this is Vishnu Byroju, and in this video, I will be talking about how I prepared for the FMGE exam or the MCI screening test. And I took this exam in June 2021.
So I decided to create a PowerPoint so that it's easier to follow. Let me just get this here. And so before we get to the actual content, there needs to be a discussion of the mindset that we need to have before, looking forward to this exam, because being a foreign medical graduate in itself gives you a great deal of anxiety because you're out of home. There are a lot of new things in terms of currency, in terms of the culture shock and everything. So before you take this exam, keep all of that aside. The only thing you need to remember is this, that you have an exam in a few weeks and you need to give it your best shot. It does not matter what university you studied from. It does not matter how many attempts you've already taken for this exam. The only thing that matters is how prepared you will be to take this test. So let's get started. Before I actually talk about the content that I use to study, you need to look at what works for you. For example, you might be someone that really does well reading books or reading textbooks, or you might be someone like me who enjoys watching videos or who enjoys audiovisual learning sort of an output. Or you might enjoy traditional lectures, for example, live online classes or physical classes. Whatever works for you, you need to be honest with yourself and you need to do things that suit you well. Just because someone else is reading text, you don't have to. And I followed this cyclical method for my foreign medical graduate exam, and it involves starting with a practice test. So you first take a practice test, and Preplada has a lot of these tests. All of them are free actually, and they're really updated. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be close to 3 to 4 hours, but it's going to be worth it. You need to build that stamina right from the start, and please finish the test. And once you get your scores, forget about it. Forget about the scores and just sit and think for a few minutes about what subjects felt really simple and what concepts felt completely random or completely out of the blue, and make a list of it. You can create a little list of the things that you felt were easy or that you felt were tough, and then uh, kind of break it down into really simpler chunks of studying subjects. For example, when I was doing this, I found myself getting obstetrics and gynecology questions really wrong. So when I would go to the next part of it, which is acquiring knowledge, I would spend a great deal on obstetrics and gynecology. I would watch videos, but it's up to you. You can read text, you can watch videos, or you can attend live classes, whatever works for you. And while you're doing that, be mindful that you're trying to gain concepts and not just memorize what's there. Because you need to really understand what's going on in order to answer questions. You need to understand the pathophysiology in a great deal of cases. And once you understand something, I believe it gets easier for you to remember it. And to test your understanding, you can teach somebody. You can teach a colleague, you can teach a junior, you can teach a senior, whoever is ready to listen. You can just teach them, and then you will find the knowledge gaps. Once you're trying to teach somebody, you will find that, oh, I've never known this, or I've never heard of this one before. So you go back to the knowledge step, and then you acquire more knowledge again. And this cycle needs to be repeated, I would say, weekly until you get a desired practice test score. And create a schedule in such a way that you take the practice test every Monday or every Tuesday or whatever works for you. And then the rest of the week you spend trying to decipher what your strengths are, trying to decipher what your weaknesses are, and then focusing a lot more on your weaknesses as opposed to strengths. Don't get into the comfort zone that, oh, I love biochemistry, so I would be spending a lot more time on biochemistry because it makes me comfortable. You want to be, you never want to be too comfortable with the idea of examinations. That is the goal. So let's say you take the test on Monday, the rest of the week, you're going to create your own schedule about how you would want to focus on your weaknesses. And if you felt like it's getting overwhelming, that's when you would want to switch to reading up on your strengths because it makes it a lot easier. And you also need to be mindful of the exam pattern, which is not quite simple. If you look at it, I mean, it's simple, but then it's varied. For example, if you see medicine as 33 questions, surgery is 32, and then psychiatry and dermatology are really small subjects. So if you see that you're missing a lot of questions on psychiatry, and if you also see that you're missing a lot of questions on medicine, you'd rather focus on medicine because that is where the bulk of your exam would be from. So be very mindful of this pattern going onto your exam. And then these are the resources I used. I did not stick to one resource because I did not feel comfortable with the idea of using just one because I like certain instructors and I did not like certain instructors. So it really depended. It really was mixed up. That's all I can say. I used prep ladders tests, which were conducted weekly, and I was doing fine. I was getting close to 140s, 150s, and my goal was to do well, but I never fixed a goal of how much I would want to score. I watched videos from an academy, I watched videos from Maro, I watched videos from other coaching sites. All of these were on YouTube, and these YouTubers or these instructors were my favorite. Dr. Neha, Dr. Nikita, and all of them mentioned here. I felt like these instructors did a really good job because they know what is being tested. They know how the exam expects you to understand certain questions. For example, if Dr. Neha tells you that this mosquito's picture is important, please trust her and try to remember that mosquito's picture because that did show up on my test. It's as simple as that. You follow instructions in this case. And I must be honest, I had an unfair advantage while I was taking this test because I was already done with my USMLE Step 1 by then. So I spoke to a friend who also took the FMGE June 2021, and here are her resources. Let's call her Dr. M2 for the sake of it. And she used books, she used these following books. She used FMGE Solutions by Dr. Deepak Marwa and Dr. Kamal KV's FMGE Solutions. She suggested something called Chantings on Integrated Medicine, which is also a YouTube video, where apparently they go over the same concepts over and over again and it sticks in your brain. So if that works for you, in her opinion, it was great. And she also watched Rapid Revision by Deepak Marwa on YouTube. And then she watched a few videos of Rapid Review on Maro. She informed that the time for her was not quite comforting because she only had 1 month and she felt she could have done a lot better if she had more time. So if this is October and there's probably 2 more months, so please plan accordingly. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, you can email me and I'll be more than happy to help you. So without further ado, I hope you guys get started and all the very best.
And as I mentioned, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is down below. Thank you and see you the next time.